Welcome to the AMC livecast, everybody. This is Mike, the Scale Model Outlaw, my co-host, Mr.
Jason, Klein Race Car Designs. How you all doing?
And of course, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the greatest producer that ever produced, Mr.
Bruce from the Bruce's Eclectic World.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Man, chat is blowing up tonight. The word must have gotten out that we've got us some really, really cool guests tonight. We're excited to have these awesome people on. We will definitely get into them more. What do y'all say we cut right to the chase and get to our channel shout outs so we can get our awesome guests in here?
Let's do it.
All right, Bruce, this is where you get to roll the wheel of who goes first.
Well, the roll of the wheel of who goes first will be
Bruce from a Bruce's Eclectic World.
Yeah, there you go. I hate when I put them in the order and then they move them around. So we're going to start with this guy right here.
Oh, that's me.
That's
my
you.
Good friend Skip. my good friend Skip from Skip-O-Matic's Model Mania. I got to hang out with Skip at the JaxCon this weekend. What a great guy. Skip's been doing this a long time. Very talented builder. Got some real cool stuff going on in his channel. So you guys definitely go over and check out Skip-O-Matic's Model Mania and tell him that the AMC show sent you. I'm sure he'll be glad to hear from everybody and give him a big old thumbs up from us.
Yep, I subscribed to him. So
cool dude, really
I
nice
did
guy.
too, long time ago. So
yep, I enjoy it. Good content, really good content.
Yes,
super good guy. He's a 3D printer. He does all kinds of stuff, man. He really good guy.
All right, next is Bruce.
Okay. That's the one I found.
That's the one he found, dude.
And mine is our good buddy Dan at 60 Rules. You know, we all know that he has channel problems.
Yeah.
And he decided to start a new channel. Because my comment was to the question was, should I start another channel? I said, why not? I run 2 channels. So, yeah. He's got 429 or so subs right now. So if you're not subbed to our buddy Dan, get over, give him a like, share, subscribe, and some lovin's, because he's still fighting that fight to get his old channel back, and we're wishing him the best of luck.
Yeah, that really sucked what they did to him.
Stuff. We kind of joke back and forth, calling each other cousins. So it's yeah, he's a great guy. So. And then I got to find Jason now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that channel. Why they did that to his channel? I guess he can't even figure out why he did it.
That's that other guy, right?
That's that other guy.
You looking for just in case? We know where just in case is.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, just in case. That's it.
Just in case.
And there we go. Ta-da! We found it.
All right. My pick this week is David Chin. 350 is his address to find his channel. David's been on for quite a while, but got a really good content. He really explains the kits really well. I enjoy his channel. Plus, he's been a great supporter for me in the last year and a half of me having a channel. Real nice guy, very polite, does some really nice comments. Of course, he loves building some Mopar stuff, so I enjoy watching his Mopar builds. He does some like medieval mini art stuff. And then he also did a favorite build of mine a few years back, which is the American Graffiti Little Deuce coupe. And I love that movie so much. And then right now he's doing a nice 69 Camaro SS build. So go over there, check out David Chin, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. He's been a contributor on my personal channel as well. So definitely go check out David. Super nice guy.
Yep.
Well, all right. We got that out of the way. So next up, you guys have been paying attention on Facebook or been listening to the gossip, because I know I've been trying to spread it around. We got some awesome guests tonight. we have Scott and Nanny Colmer from Auto Modeler Magazine. So without further ado, roll that beautiful bean footage, Mr. Bruce. And when we return, they'll be live on the AMC Livecast.
All right. Nice.
And there they are.
Ladies
There they
and
are,
gentlemen,
everybody.
boys and girls, AMC proudly gives you the Colmer family from Auto Modeler Magazine. Welcome, y'all. So great to have you guys on, man. We've been looking forward to this for a while.
Cool.
Excited.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna just in case nobody knows, I'm the Scott and Scott and Nani.
Nani. You probably would have been able to figure that out, but thank you for clearing it up.
Yeah.
Some of us, me, are a little bit thicker than others, so it might have been needed to have it typed out for me. Well, again, we have been so excited since we were able to confirm with you. Thanks again. I'm going to give a big shout out to our mutual friend Matt Lucasy, who was kind enough to put this chain together for us, for you to be on the show and us to get to know you guys. So I want to give him a big tip of the hat. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate that.
Thank you,
Matt.
Matt.
Yes.
Good friend of ours, good friend of the magazine.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
really up for us.
Yeah.
yeah, he's just a great guy, man. Just a really, really great guy. I'm a huge follower of his, and I've been fortunate enough to call him a friend. One of my favorite episodes that he does is when the new issue comes out. You know, first, second, third, and fourth. As soon as that comes up on my screen, I got to listen to it, man. I got to see what's going on.
We're gonna give you a ribbon. You watched all 4?
I've watched all 4 of them.
Right.
Just they come out. Oh yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta say, I love that cover on that 4th magazine. Some Mopars
Yeah.
on there.
My
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the episode that Scott and Matt did, they talk about that cover, but I don't want to steal any of that thunder. First, Scott, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then maybe we'll morph in and you can tell us more about that cover, because I've heard the story and it's super interesting. So let's start with when you got started into models. What have you done with models? Do you build models? Do you just collect models? What do you do? Tell us all about it.
All right. So it'll be me for a little bit. Yeah, I got started around 4 years old. And surprisingly, my dad did not give me a start. My great grandma did indirectly, because at her house, she had a toy box. Now, I was little, so that toy box, I thought it was like the size of like a coffin almost.
Right.
House. They were always outside. And so we just dig in it, because she would say, go do something. And that was the end of it. And one day I'm digging through there, and, all the metal Tonkas were played with, and I got to the bottom of the toy box, and there was pieces of what I found out later was a car model, but it was more than one. And it was a Black Widow. Must have been like an original release or close to it, that had been built and kind of came apart. And then there was a Long John that had also built and come apart. And the Black Widow made the most sense to me. And I played with it like the whole day while I was waiting for my parents to come pick me up. And by the time they got me, I figured out, that the heads went back on and the tires went on. And I can't remember if I had to put the engine in place or not. I don't think so. And so they brought me home, and I showed it to them. I go, look, and they're like, all right. And so they put me on that Formica 1968 table that we all and with a lot of newspaper and a tube of glue. And I just went at it. And I really made a blob of black glue. But that model. And so that was kind of the start. And after that, all my allowances were spent on model cars. And it just never ended. I never stopped building my whole life. And I don't know if you can see behind us, but this cabinet's got a few builds. There's a horn toad. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a 72. That's my last survivor from when I was a kid. And so, you know, and I do build. And in fact, if you read my magazine, and I know you do, the unstalled column is usually mine. It's my stalled project. And I found a way that I could write for the magazine and still work on models.
Nice.
And so that's kind of where it is. In fact, if you looked at issue number 4, let me just pick this up. You saw the wise guy get finished. There it is.
There it is.
Thank you. So that's about it. I'm not a big contest winner. I'm a contest enterer. And so I'm all yay for you guys.
Right. They call me added money, so
there you go.
I can relate.
In a way, that's good, because being a fan, I think, makes it better to write the magazine, because that way I can admire the work of the people who are really churning out good stuff, and that works out really well for me. And I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you much more. I've got a garage with about 600 kits in it. That I'm going to probably get rid of a lot of them because I need the space, and I know that I can't build them all now because I can't. And I'm just going to focus on finishing the stalled projects. And you know, it takes me between a year and 6 months to finish a project with 500 kits. The math doesn't work.
Right. Well, the only thing I got to say to that is can't never could, my friend. Can't never could. We added it up one time that if I built a model a month, that it would take me like the next 48 years to build all my models. So, but that doesn't mean I'm getting rid of any.
But that's
and obviously somewhere along the line you met this beautiful bride of yours, and you guys have been, how long y'all been married?
16 years. So
you're in trouble now. It's day before Valentine's Day, and you're getting it wrong.
I know the date. That's all that matters. October 25th.
Yes, that's what
October 25th.
So this year we're sitting outside with some friends. Somebody says the date, and we're like, oops. Oh, today is our anniversary.
I had no idea.
Totally forgot.
It does.
But, you know, she put an ad out looking for a model car builder.
Yes.
Mediocre.
Yeah.
So what made you guys think about starting a magazine? What was the inspiration?
Okay, well, if you want to go way back, and I've never really shared this, way back when I was like 12, I used to try to write my own model car instructions because I thought that was kind of cool. And I wish I would have saved some, but I didn't. And then moving up into the 80s, I was a member of the Sacramento Auto Modelers, the SAM Club, and I did their newsletter for a while. And I still have some of those, so I'm pretty happy about that. And so then, you know, I've got a degree in English, and I'm a teacher, but I don't teach. I teach general stuff. But anyhow, so I started writing about model cars, and the first thing I wrote was, I think it went to Scale Auto, and it was called Doing the Swap Thing, and it was about, you know, how to get the most out of your swap meet experience. And I just sent it in, and they never said anything. And then one day, a member of the SAM Club comes in and goes, "Hey, is this you?" And he showed me the magazine. I go, "It is." They didn't even tell me they published it. But
wow.
So then now I'm published. And then I wrote something for the Sacramento Bee about car models in general that got on the front of the automotive section. And it was also helped promote their model car contest. And that's a good thing to do. If you do a model car contest, put out a press release, because you'll drag people out of the woodwork.
Yes.
And so from there, I started submitting to Model Cars when Harry was still the editor. And it was little things like how to make your own moon disc, how to make a piston shifter. And he would just kept going and going. And then I got the idea of incorporating a full build and taking through all these little how-tos to make all these little detail parts. And that was the Scorpion. And that lasted over a year. And
Nice.
that was pretty cool. And there was a ton in there. I was really excited about it. And then I decided to be a teacher, so I couldn't do that anymore. And I just didn't have the time. So once I got my credential back, and model cars was kind of, if you know, they kind of dipped down. They were struggling. Greg passed away. And Greg seemed to be getting back on foot. And Scale Auto had dropped out. And so I felt like, you know, Greg's chance now is to really now. And so I reached out to him and I'm like, Greg, I want to start writing for you again. And he said, sure, great. And then he invited me to the meetings. And those meetings are how they plan out the issues. And that was the education I needed. And so I could see how they do it. And at one point I'm like, well, you know what? Before I was a teacher, I was a printer. So I've got the print, I've got the writing. I'm going to do my own magazine. At that point, I talked to her.
Right. Talk to the boss.
Let's do it.
She said, let's do it after about a month.
That's awesome.
Make my spreadsheet. Oh, everything. Oh, I love it. Yes. Ooh, thunder.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I thought I seen a flicker in the back windows there.
That was right there. She said, do it. So, and then we did it, and we started putting it together, and it's interesting because we've never run a business. I grew up with my parents running a business, but we never did. And so you got to figure out who's going to do what. And at first, you know, like I'm just gathering things for a magazine, and I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm glad Nani was there because she's put the behind the scenes going, wait, what about this? What about that? And so we got, I did. I said, okay, we're going to go for it. And we planned it the way that Auto Modeler magazine could fall in between the scheduled release dates for model cars. And it's still set up that way. We are a few issues ahead of them, but you know, they'll catch up. And we just did. And the original, the issue number 2 you saw with Rick Hanmore's purple car on the cover, his 49, the Klingon Cruiser, that was originally going to be the first issue. Oh, and, I think Doug White put me in contact with Tim Boyd. And Tim Boyd's got, well, I got this thing that's and he called it a stalled project that he finished. I'm like, wait, I'm doing Unstalled. Let's use that to introduce that. And so that's how Tim Boyd got on the very first cover. And then Rick got moved to the second cover. So, and then from there, it's just been storming.
Yeah.
I can imagine. It's blown up.
It is. Well, we printed 2,500 of the first issue, and we have 61 left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I know. We're like, all right, so we're not paying to do this.
I heard, going back to Matt, that's when I first heard about the upcoming Auto Modeler magazine was through their Scale Model Car podcast. So as soon as I found out about it, man, I went to the website and I had to get me a subscription, man. I was fortunate enough to be on get my subscription in early. I got the first all the way through the latest, and have definitely enjoyed them. And it's really cool to see the different content you get in there. And we'll get into it. You know, you can talk more about it, but what you're calling your young guns, which I recently found out that I don't qualify for because I'm 53, be 54 in April, so I'm kind of over the line a little bit. But I'm young at heart, right? Doesn't that
young at heart?
I'm young at heart.
You could be an OG, but you're a middle gun. But we're fine. 50's good. When you get into the 80s, we're like, gosh, you know, we love you.
I'm working there.
Bruce just turned 71. He had his birthday right here on the show.
You're a middle gun.
He's a middle gun. That's what it is. He's a middle gun. So, but we touched on it earlier, so we'll circle back. But the cover of the issue number 4, tell us that story. I've heard it, and it's a pretty amazing story.
I love that story.
Amazing cover too.
Yeah, great.
All right. So I don't know if you guys read Hot Rod magazine back in the 80s, but that was like and there was this one really cool street racing. It is actually called street racing, which was kind of bold because you're not supposed to do that. And I remembered that cover, and I thought, I want to replicate that. And so Roy Sorensen can work some pretty cool magic with AI and model car images and background images. And so I'm like, I reached out to Roy. We're talking months in advance. I go, Roy, do you think you can make this? And he goes, Roy will do it. He's always game. He's always going to give it a try. He's really a great guy to have as a contributor and just a friend of the magazine. And so he goes, sure. And so we had 2 of the models already built. We had the GTX. I don't know if that's working on the camera, but we had his Daytona and the GTX. And the 3rd model was the one that was getting finished. And so Roy got it laid out, and that GTX and that Daytona looked pretty good. But in the background was, because we used the original Hot Rod cover as the basis to kind of mess around with. And you got to be careful because Hot Rod's it's still around. And we couldn't stand up to a magazine like that coming after us.
Right. Yeah, the copyright on that wouldn't be.
They have no problem suing people. I know that for sure.
Yeah, and that'd be the end of us. And anyhow, so we're there, and finally we get the Leonard Herrig finishes the Bad Pork 48 Ford, and Roy's just trying to get it in there to make make it look right, because you got a background, you got a car that comes from Canada, a car that comes from Northern California. And then you got where Leonard lives, and I think it's in Maryland. And so all these pictures have to line up to make the perspective look like right. And Roy's trying to get that AI to do it and get it to do it. And I mean, he got close. And in fact, some people liked his better. And I'm like, it's just not quite lined up, And so I asked, we have a graphic artist named Stephanie Biddle. And so when all the pages get together and everything, we send it to her, and she'll lay out the magazine for us.
Okay.
And but anyhow, so I said, Stephanie, can you take a try? And her first try with the McDonald's in the background was just not very good. So we pulled the McDonald's out, and we had that cover that you have in your hand. She did that one, and then we had Roy's, which was so good and so close. Yeah, that's the one that we ended up going with. And so foolishly, after we sent that to the printer, I decided, gee, I wonder if I made the right decision. And so I sent pictures of that and Roy's to like a few of the friends of the magazine, and Luca's one of them. And you don't know, but Tim Boyd, it was another, and a few others. And I said, which one do you like best? And Luca was the first one. And he goes, oh, I love that. I know that cover. I know what it just looked. And I'm like, oh, man. No, my heart was just dying. Because I was like, oh, no, I should have picked Roy's. And then a few people came back and they liked the other one. So it went about 50-50 for and we were glad we went with that cover. And we've gotten a pretty good response off of it. People really like it. So
it's my favorite one.
And Mania, so that makes a big difference.
Right. If it's her favorite, then it's got to be the best one, right?
Exactly.
I'm going to echo what Luca said in the video that you guys did on the number 4 release. Maybe down the road that you have a, for lack of better terms, a centerfold or a fold-in poster that goes inside the magazine, and it could be that other picture you were talking about.
Really,
that would be a cool idea.
If I would see it being the way I am, I would go back to Roy one more time. Can you please try to just move that car a little bit? What if we did a calendar?
Calendar would be really cool.
Yeah, a calendar would be really cool.
Yeah. Remember when Jarris Watson did calendars? I bought those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those were awesome. A calendar would be
idea.
Some like, because the Rick Hanmore's, we got more of those Doug White shots. So that cover on issue number 2, that photo was taken by Doug White. Okay. And you guys know him because he's a YouTuber.
Yep.
And he's a phenomenal builder, but he was a professional photographer as well.
Right.
He was a food photographer, but he took beautiful photos of Rick's car, and he goes, maybe wait till I get the Hasselblad out. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's a real fancy camera. For all the rest of you people who are wondering what he's. So, I would do that. If we can collect enough really good shots, and like, Roy does those blend shots, like John Teresi's dad, the illusion in front of that house.
Right.
That's a Roy thing. He put that together. That you could make a calendar of some of the best shots.
You could make a calendar after a year. You could make a calendar of all your covers, or you could. I mean, what a great idea, right? Or
Project
you could have a contest. You know, every
There's a small hits. We're bi-monthly.
Well, that's what I mean. So yeah, you don't want to do that. You are bi-monthly. Getting back to talking about that, I thought it was super smart of you to come out the opposite month of the other magazine. So if you're subscribed to both, you essentially would get a magazine a month. What a great idea!
Yep.
And
That's an awesome idea.
Another concept could be in September, October every year, you could run a contest and pick the top 12 builds and create a calendar out of that.
Just talking about that today.
That's a very now wait. You said contest. You were thinking contest issue.
Yeah, he's the calendar.
But there's an idea.
Oh, I like that.
A contest, and we can put the contest in the calendar.
Yeah, you could do something like that.
I like that idea. Hang on, do I have
just ideas? I'm certainly not here to tell you how to run your magazine, but I do accept suggestions.
You can go back and watch this video later. That way you know what your ideas were.
Hey, I just happen to have this all set up and ready for you.
Yeah, there you go. Glad we can help.
That's awesome. No, that's a great idea. We're
For sure.
we're actually are part of the sponsors of the USAC build group, the YouTube provider build group, and we're gonna cover that like a test.
There you go.
So we always are looking for new avenues, new ways to look at model cars. And you guys are it. I think you're probably you are the predominant media in model cars right now. All you guys, all you YouTube.
Yeah, collectively. Yeah. We've said it before. I think we're living in the golden age of model building. If between the 3D printing, they still got the aluminum stuff out there that's been around a long time, but you add the 3D printing to it. You add the different companies, the paint supply companies. You go down the whole list of things that are available to us now. I think I've said it before, and I know Jason and Bruce agree with me. I think we are living the golden age of models right now.
I say it's the third golden age. Is the way I've been saying it. Because number one was back in the 60s, 70s NPC days, which we're going to start covering a lot of because there's so much cool history back there.
Yeah.
And then number two was the 80s when Scale Auto teamed up with GSL and kind of brought us back up into the forefront. And we got a really good magazine. And then all of a sudden, all these magazines started coming out. And then I think this is number three with you guys, the YouTubers, the 3D printing. We're starting to see like what we were talking about younger guns. So I feel like things are actually starting to get bigger again.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
You hear sometimes that the hobby's dying. It's not dying. It's evolving. It's definitely evolving, and it's becoming something different. But at the same time, there's still a lot going on. These 3D printing guys, sponsors of our show, are also people that are in your magazine. We have Chris from Scale Speed Garage as a sponsor of the AMC Livecast, along with Josh from BCG Resin. He's also a sponsor of the show. We've had those guys on. Great guys. We definitely appreciate them. They offer our viewers and us discount codes, so we're really thankful for that. But guys like that are really stepping out there doing stuff, you guys that are creating these magazines, I just think it's an awesome time to be in the hobby for sure.
I think so. And one thing I didn't realize is because now people are starting to know us and they know we print contests, and we're starting to get people sending us more and more. We've got this show, we got that show. It's a lot of shows. There's a lot of shows going on out there. And so that tells me there's people going, and there's going to be some guys that are going to show up at a lot of different shows because that's what they do. That's fun. But you still see always new guys too.
Absolutely.
You guys know NSY, what's his name? The kid from
Dylan. Dylan.
Yeah. Dylan. Yes.
Dylan
is an amazing builder for sure.
Yeah. Another young gun.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Very,
So how many photographers do you guys have for your magazine then?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
How many photographers do you guys have out there?
As many as we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go, it's usually it's our friend Dirk Herzog or Nani, because she shot Syracuse. And when we go back to Syracuse, she's going to shoot it again. And she's going to shoot the Desert Gale Classic for us. And we actually have jobs that we do when we're at a show. And my job is to try not to wander off. Because I see somebody go, oh, show me what you got, because I want to see someone's models. And I'll go out in there and then I'll start talking to people and I left my post. That's what happens. Yeah, and poor Dirk is there trying to look at those builder cards to make sure they're filled out. And that's my job, is to look at the builder cards. And so you walk up with a builder card, I'm going to read it. And I'm going to make sure there's something in there that tells me about you and your model. I don't, I need to know the paint and where the parts came from, and what the kit was, and kind of what you did to it. But I want to know what your inspiration was, what was the challenge, because you wouldn't believe the things you find out when you start talking to people. Yeah. Like, this was my dad's model when I rebuilt it. We just got one from the Galpin Invitational. By the way, that's an amazing event. And it's a one-shot thing, I'm pretty sure. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm talking to this kid, and the model, you can tell it's a survivor. And he goes, I didn't know this man was my dad.
Oh, wow.
He just didn't know. And then, like through 23andMe or something, he found out he had a bio dad. And so he went and turned out they both built car models.
That is very cool. Very cool.
Wow.
Those are the stories you get when you start digging into these builder forums. You get these great stories that can go, you get them in a little caption like that, but it's in there, and it puts the person in with the model. So that's, and then Nani, I'd like you to, I'm going to stop talking for a second. Nani, what do you do at the show? Maybe one of you guys should ask her what she does at the show.
Well, how about we ask her right after we come back from our commercial break? We're about 30 minutes into the show, and we want to run our little commercial. But when we get back, we're going to shine that spotlight right on you, Nani. You're going to tell us all about what your job is. Dealing with this guy, I'm sure.
All right, cool.
Okay, we'll start out with Mr. Reese.
Mr. Job
Roll
Reese.
that view.
Use that code AMC Live 10. And next up, our friend Chris from Scale Speed Garage. ScaleSpeedGarage.com/AMC gets you a discount there as well. So y'all be sure to check out both of those awesome sponsors.
And we have something rally cool.
Oh yeah, we definitely have to do the rally cool thing.
Hey, we should host another group build sponsored by the podcast.
Sure, but it needs to be a race car this time.
Yeah, something that can race on asphalt or dirt.
And night and different types of weather. That would be pretty cool.
And can fly.
Wait, what?
What you talking about, BG?
Hey, I got it. Rally cars.
Yes.
What date should we run the build for?
How about January 31st? It can start and go to December 31st. That's a good amount of time.
Sure, I can work with that.
Okay, but I gotta say, I'm a little concerned about the Defying Gravity thing. I haven't had much luck in that lately.
Join the Scale Model Car Podcast 2025 Rally Cool Rally Car Group Build and build that rally car model kit that's been sitting on your shelf ever since you brought it home from the hobby store and said, I'm going to build that one day, because now is your chance.
I still love that GTO.
It never gets old hearing hearing Chuck talk about defying gravity. I just never gets old.
Yeah.
Poor Chuck.
Or GTO.
Hey, he said it inspired him to come back with a bigger and better GTO, so I'm excited about seeing that for the first time.
Everything
Well,
for a
Miss
reason.
Donnie, it is your time to shine, my dear. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with the magazine, and how much fun you have hanging out with a model guy.
Super fun. Of course, car models have been on my radar as long as we have been together, and my passion for this started with, this would be really exciting for us to do together. And now it's really become, it's so dear to our hearts. And I do the subscriptions, customer service. I handle retailers, and I contribute sometimes with ideas on content, not as much as maybe, I guess, not as much as I initially thought, but because it's such an undertaking to do the rest, I am the queen of spreadsheets, and that really works. It bodes well for us. A little bit OCD, that also helps out.
Yeah.
I also a teacher. I teach 6th grade. So we don't work in the same school district, but so we both teach full time, and we come home and do this second job that our passions really run high for it. We both really, really love doing this, and the positivity that we hear is, it really helps keep us going, and people are really motivating and supportive and things like this. And I love the energy, and I love meeting all of the builders, and it's more enjoyable as time goes. It's just amazing to do. I'm so happy.
That's awesome.
Cool. Well, you said something that makes a lot of sense to me, because if Scott's anything like the rest of us, you teach sixth graders all day long at school, you definitely have built up a tolerance for a certain level of immaturity. So thus far, you must be able to get along with us model car guys.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we're pretty immature, actually.
actually, we're both pretty immature. That's the fun part.
That is the fun part, huh?
So do you build models yourself?
I tried, no laughing. So I did try, I'm going to say 12, 13 years ago, and I didn't have the patience, and I had to stop. It was really, but now I actually been talking about, I want to build my first full model. And when it's time to paint, I'm going to reach out to my friend John, and he's going to help me.
Does he know that?
Well, he'll be fine.
He does now.
He'll be fine.
I wonder if he's watching, he'll be like, what?
But I'm excited to build my first model. I'm going to go and choose one of these around here, and it's going to be great.
There you go.
See, there you go.
Right.
He just said he can't build them all.
So relax, everything's fine.
I'll give you a list.
and then she'll give you then she'll pick the one she wants anyway.
Yeah, we'll take the snap-tight Camaro that was a giveaway at a show.
Yeah. Inception me to choosing one that he wants me to take. And
There you go.
I'm still gonna pick, but I'm gonna build my first model. I'm very excited.
And my recommendation: don't scratch build. Just put it together.
Just build.
Here's
Yeah.
Exactly. Scratch building. I know you guys touched on that a little bit in the episode 4, talking about scratch building. I think the guy emailed in a question or whatever about where has scratch gone? Have we gotten lazy? I think was the title.
Yep.
Scratch building, in my opinion, and Jason, you can talk to it as well, Bruce. Scratch building to me is a whole nother art in itself. I mean, if you can take something and take nothing and turn it into something and make it look right, my hat is off to you. There's guys like Mark Batson, and there's several guys out there that are doing it. I do a little bit of hacking in that, like, for a perfect example, I'm taking an old Firebird Pro Stock chassis, and that's what I'm putting in my 68 Dart for the USAC build. So I'll have all, Pontiac chassis that I've modified to fit in there. But to me, I don't think that's more kit bashing in my book than scratch building. What about you, Jason? What do you think?
I love scratch building. I mean, it comes from the big car side of doing all the fabrication out here. So I love just getting raw materials, brass tubing, sheets of styrene and whatnot, and just having at it, carving the parts out and gluing them on. So I love it. It's unfortunate, it's time consuming, you know. You can go down a rabbit hole of detail like you wouldn't believe. So
totally with you, completely with you. In fact, I'm gonna have to hold something up to the camera real quick. So let me
Hang on just a second, Bruce, to put you up there on the big screen so we can get a close look at it. There you go. All right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So can you see the butterfly valves in there?
Yep, I can see them.
Right. And all that fuel system and that magneto drive, all that scratch built. Oh,
that is beautiful.
Scratch built out of TIG welding rod.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm with you. I love that stuff.
Yep.
Parts, it's fun.
That's what I'm doing on my USAC build right now. It's all brass for the cage. A lot of the frame rails, all that stuff is all brass. Soldered it. I mean, I got so many hours in that car. It's just sad. But it's a lot of fun. So.
Is brass that hard? I've always wondered. Is brass harder or not?
It's actually softer than using TIG rod.
TIG rod hard, but I mean, is it difficult hard?
No, it's not. It's not hard. The nice thing about brass is it doesn't have a lot of spring back. So TIG rod, you're going to have some spring back more than you will with brass. Mm-hmm. I use solid brass rod more than I use the tubing. I'll use the tubing for if I have a little joint that I have to have a slip joint or something, then I'll use tubing. But other than that, I use solid rod. And that way there, I can sand all the marks out from the bender or the pliers for tweaking the bends. So
that's cool. I'd like to explore brass. I've never really done much brass work.
It's a lot of fun.
And you can solder it.
Yeah, and you can solder it. So then you ain't got to worry about, you know, fatigue and when you're handling it and moving it around, mocking stuff up. So
the one thing I found with using TIG rod, which I've used it for a couple different things, made roll cages with it, works really well. But if you bend it too much, it tends to break. If you try to put too much of a bend in it, it does tend to break. But but brass, I think brass is a lot more malleable. And I've got a little, that's buried in there somewhere, but it's basically a thing I picked up online. It's about a 4-inch by 4-inch square plastic piece that takes a bunch of pins, and you can acts like a jig. You can bend the rod, put the pins where you want them, and bend the rod around it. So that works really well. But when I was building with the roll cage for my Pacer, and I was trying to get a 90 on there, it bent so much that that TIG rod gave out on me. Now I probably could have heated it up a little bit and got it to go ahead and bend, but I didn't try that.
Yeah, that plastic jig, I broke that thing, and I ended up machining one out of aluminum one day. And so now I got
have access to that sort of
rod
stuff.
that I can pivot around there and change the die on it, so I can get different radiuses.
Yeah, Jason should have a class. That's BG right there.
BG. I'm Justin. Nope.
Yeah.
Right there, I see Jason.
Yeah, no. He named me Justin.
Oh. One of our
Really?
Really?
When they asked us onto the Scale Model Car podcast asked us onto there, and BG messed up and introduced him as Justin. So now he's just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case you need a spare, give me a call. No.
That's it. Just in case. Wow. So we're already 45 minutes into it. I knew this was going to zip by. It's such a good time, man. We're so excited about having you guys on. Scott, is there anything more you want to talk about the magazine? Where, as far as what you might need, what you got going on, what you need?
Do I need? Well, we always need subscribers. We always need more retailers. But I'm also, if you think you have a good idea for an article, or if you want your show to get covered, just reach out to us.
Okay.
Scott Colmer at automodeler.net, and we'll get started. And we want to be involved with as many shows as possible. we'll send a subscription sponsorship. If you're going to shoot the show for us, we can send you a banner so you can rep us, and kind of keep our name out there, because we still got to. I'm always surprised people go. Lucas C. at his club after issue number 2. Oh, some people didn't even know you were there. And I'm like, what? How could you not know? But it is. And I kind of want to let you know that we have some upcoming stuff that's going to be pretty cool, since we were talking about working in brass. So if you've been following a little bit, I've been talking about a guy named Richard Carroll.
Yes.
Carroll is. Just
Yep.
to get
I know from what you have talked about. That's how I heard the name.
Okay, so I've always known about him because years and years ago, I was sitting in my room, building a model probably, and my dad walks in and he drops a couple magazines in front of me, and they were old car model magazines, the old ones, and Ira Dom is in there. And he was making his Moon Cube series, and there was a guy named Richard Carroll, and he was selling those really weird looking wide tires. And I'm like, whoa. And that name stuck with me. And then years ago, Roy Sorensen for the NNL put out, after I think number 15, a little like a yearbook for the first 15 years. And Richard Carroll was on the first page, and his models are beyond creative. They're barely, they have 4 wheels, they have an engine, and you might see where someone could sit, but they're art. And I'm like, this guy's amazing. And I've always been a fan of him. And they said these were made out of brass. That's you, Justin. And so, and so I'm like, wow, and I tried to learn more. And then if you guys know about the Show Rods forum, okay,
no.
Shout out friend Dave. Dave's got the Show Rods forum. If you like show rods, that's where guys go to talk about it. And you can post builds and things like that. It's a pretty cool spot. And one of the guys that was on that forum, and it was a pretty busy place, is named Tim Nolan. If you guys know Rat Dad videos, YouTube.
Yep.
Okay. So Tim
he's local
Nolan.
to me. I say he's local to me. He's like a couple hours from me.
You're in Florida.
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
Yep. So we're looking. We know what's coming next. So, so Tim found Richard Carroll, and and he still had all his models, and this guy was a champion modeler. So you think winning the GSL is pretty cool? You're up against what, 1,500, 2,000 models. If you won an MPC contest back in the day, back in the 70s or I'm going to say the early 70s, you were up against 10,000 people.
Wow. And
because at all the car shows, the big car shows, they had model car shows, and they had them in the hobby shops too. And MPC did them, Tester did them. Remember that trophy you see with the Pegasus on it?
Yeah.
And then Rebel did them, but MPC was the last big one. And so you would find your way up to the top through a series of contests, regional and the whole bit. And if you were a big deal, they'd fly you out. And so Richard Carroll came down, and the guys were about maybe in their teens and 20s, early 20s. They kind of beyond kid now because they've been doing it a while. And he brought these brass creations. I mean, we're talking everything's brass, suspension, everything, his own tires. And he was so good, they made a class just for him. And a couple of guys, and it was called the Pro class. Because and Boyd's the one who told me about this. I go, you competed against Richard Carroll. He goes, no, Richard was in the Pro class. And so that's there was a guy I think named Brad Anderson, if I've got the right name. I might be wrong about that, but these guys had and there was not many of them in that class. And so then Richard Carroll lost interest, and he packed up his models and he put them in a box, and he went on to build real cars and become an architect. And yeah, and so they're brass. So there's a good chance you open that box and you've got a very nice model inside, and there's a lot of them. So Tim Nolan found him, and they were trying to get him to send those models to a museum, and it fell through. And that was it. We couldn't find him. And I was looking for him. I'm like asking everybody, talking about it on the YouTube channels, finding. Finally, David Dale, the guy who said we were getting lazy, and he regrets saying that now. He wrote me, he goes, I wish I hadn't said. So David Dale said to Mark Weller, if you guys remember that name, Mark Weller, Dr. Mark Weller.
Yeah. Sounds familiar, but I can't put on face with it.
He was in Scale Auto. He built the white Henry J with the orange checkers on the back.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that funny? See how we are? I can't.
We were
half the people I need. When I see your model, I'll remember it.
That's it.
Yeah. So, and he at Spirit of Speed this year, which was phenomenally big. That show was crazy. It was so crowded. He sent Dr. Mark Weller over to talk to me, and Mark Weller goes, "I think I know how to get a hold of Richard Carroll." I'm like, all right, because I'd run out. I tried calling architect societies in Florida because I heard he was in Florida. I couldn't get anywhere. I was dead. And he goes, okay, so there's a metal bending guy, Ron. No, I can't. Oh, shoot, I forgot his name. But he teaches metal bending. And actually, Jason,
God, I can't think of his last name. Ron. He's up there on the East Coast. He does a lot of metal fabrication and shaping.
There's a guy, I think here where was he? I apologize because this guy knew. Anyhow, so he gave me the name, and I'm so sorry, I forgot this guy's name. And I looked up his website, and I wrote him an email. I'm looking for Richard Carroll. I tried Ham. Ham was a complete bust. And the guy goes, he's a friend of mine. I've known him for 10 years. Here's his cell number and his home number. And if he doesn't answer, give me a call. I'll make sure he picks up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so
wow.
I know. I'm like, yes.
That's so cool.
Go. And so I made the call. And Richard Carroll is an older guy now. He's in his 80s. And he goes by Dick Carroll. But and I said, hey, is this the Richard Carroll that built the award-winning models in the NPC contest? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, but I publish Auto Modeler magazine. We'd like to feature your models in our magazine. Okay, let me know when you get here. And now,
now you're going to Florida.
and I'm like, all right. And I go to Nani. I go, hey man, do you want to go with me? Because we're going to Florida. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Where at in Florida is he at? Where is he at in Florida?
Secret location.
Secret location. Okay.
And I'm not trying to be cagey about it, but
I get it. He wants to keep it a secret.
I want to keep it down. And his the second time I called, his daughter was there. And I said, hi, blah, blah, blah. She goes, yeah, I heard about you.
She was like screening. She was
screening. Yeah, she was screening me. And she goes, how do we know? Yeah. And I go to automodelermag.com. And while I was talking to her, she called it up. And she goes, okay, you look good. And so I started talking about her dad. And it seems like she knew he was good, but she didn't know how good he was. And I'm like, they created a special class just for your dad because of what he did. And she goes, I knew it. I love that. And she starts exciting. And then next thing you know, he starts getting excited. Now he's getting on the phone. And so basically we have our tickets, we have our hotel, and we have a date that we're going to go, and we're going to unbox those. This is an announcement. I haven't said this anywhere else, but right here.
Sweet.
And so we're
breaking news. We got breaking news, guys.
Got the scoop. So we're gonna, and he said it's fine. I said, do not unpack those models, please, because we're gonna do an attic find video, where just like I love barn find videos, and it's just gonna be like we're gonna open that box and we're gonna pull those beautiful models out one by one and show them coming out and getting unfolded, and then we're gonna shoot them for the magazine.
Yeah,
that is cool.
So we're gonna
super cool.
Yes, this is
Ron Colville is his name. Colville.
Ron Covell. I think that's it.
Covell, yeah.
Yeah, Covell. Oh, very good. Thank you, Ron. Sorry, I forgot. I appreciate everything you've done. Mark Weller too. He's turned out to be a good friend of the magazine as well.
Well, let me do this while we're on the topic. When you make it to Florida and you get done doing all that, you have an open invitation. I'm here in Ocala, which is basically dead center of the state. And if presumptions are what they are, you're probably not going to be that far from me, because one of the largest retirement communities in the world is about 30 miles south of me. So assumptions being what they are, there's a very good chance that he could be there. But and we won't get into it. But obviously, if you get this close to Ocala, let me know. I'll be happy to take you out to dinner, have a drink, talk model cars with you guys. It would be great to meet you in person as well.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool. It'd be super cool.
I actually, I don't. Are you talking about the village?
The Villages, yes.
The Villages.
Yeah, they call it.
I don't think I don't know that. And just so you know, the reason we're being quiet is his daughter. Don't share his address. Don't share his.
That's fine. That's fine.
Of course, the way I was so excited, she must have thought that there's like 100 people or 1,000 people behind me that want to come to his house. I don't know. I want to create that. Actually, if everybody understands who we're digging out, then I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs wanting to see this unboxing. That's why I want to break it here, and we can share it out.
That's going to be really cool.
That's going to be really cool. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's kind of one of the benefits of the magazine.
How old is he now?
80.
80?
Yeah. He's still he works on cars. He's in a wheelchair, he said, but he works on cars.
That's awesome.
Cool. Good for him.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, I'm looking for a lot. I think it'll be a fun time.
I give the Villages a hard time, but Florida is absolutely a retirement community all in itself anyway. So it could be anywhere in Florida and be in a retirement community.
Yeah. So,
but that's awesome, and we'll definitely be looking forward to that issue.
So
just to see those old kits, those old pieces, and those old models put together, all that scratch building that he'd done. Because other than what I've picked up from you're talking about it, and that I've never seen any of those kits, or never had the pleasure of looking at pictures of those kits. So I'm gonna be really excited to see how they did it, back then, and how something that can be from the early 70s can relate to and still be creative and inventive today. Right here it is 50 some odd years later.
He's so on another level. So we're going to put out that video first, the unboxing video, and that's going to tease every one of the ones we're going to feature in the magazine. And so that's going to be, at this point, that's issue number 6 is going to be the Richard Carroll issue. And so we got a few things going on that would fit in that whole story of the NPC contest. So I've already skipped ahead a whole issue. Number 5 first.
Bruce, put that TJ's comment up there, Bruce.
Yeah.
I just seen it when you said that.
So outside of the subscription.
So if you don't want to get a subscription, my heart hurts. But you will, because when you see that we've been around for 5 and 6 years, you'll know we're legit. But go to automodelermag.com and you will see our retailers. And I'm just going to name a few of them. We have Iceman right there on your shirt.
Iceman Collections.
And we have Spotlight Hobbies, who are great friends of the magazine. They help us get reviews. Really good guys. Matt and Don, another family team. And then we have Jack at Model Roundup, another friend of the magazine. They're all friends of the magazine. We have Wes and does STS sell for us, or he brings the shows? Yeah. Terry at STS.
Okay.
It's Scott Borchers.
That's Terry Burrisher. I'm Scott.
And what about back issues? What about back issues? They can get those from you?
They have them.
They can order them from the retailers, and if the retailers are out, then they can come to us, but they all have them right now.
Okay. Sweet. I highly recommend a subscription. It comes like clockwork every other month. It's on time, it's on point, and it's as far as I know, that's still the best, budget wise, that's still the best way to get it. Is that correct? To buy a subscription?
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta sign up. I've been dragging my feet. I gotta sign up.
It's a great magazine, man. I love it.
Yeah, if you buy it from our retailers, good, thank you, because we want to make sure that they get that because they support us. But if you get a subscription, it is better budget wise, and it is better for you. And we do release on time.
Yeah.
Now we can't help the post office because we know around Christmas time, issue number 3 was dragging a bit.
Oh, man.
And we got a lot of people wondering where their issue was in Canada in particular, because they had a postal strike.
Yeah.
They were suffering and we felt bad, but I think they finally all started getting
They did.
but they just had to get through the backlog. And
Cool.
We had a storm here in Florida that kind of delayed mine, but again, it was at the post office, or a post office anyway. It wasn't y'all's fault. You got it out on time. They dragged their feet a little bit getting it to us from there. But other than that, man, it's like the first couple days of the month when it comes out, it's bang, it's there, ready to go. Love it.
Now that was
speaking go ahead.
I made to myself and ourselves is that we were going to hold our deadlines. And it's because I know people wait and they want to see that magazine.
Sure.
I know I do. So, you buy that, you want it. And kind of the way.
It's the way it works, right?
Yeah. And that's, it's magazine. I worked in printing industry. We didn't miss deadlines.
You convinced him.
Hmm?
You convinced him he's going to get one.
You're gonna get a subscription. 2,000 gonna get one. Well, since we obviously are talking about the magazine, is there anybody in there, any of your sponsors, any of your retailers, any of your people that add to your magazine that you want to talk about?
Sure, of course. Okay, we just have our retailers, but we have them. We got some Canada retailers. That's great. We have them in most states now. We do now. Somebody mentioned Hobbytown. We're not in any Hobby towns. Not yet. And I think the person who mentioned Hobbytown, I think they're individual. Otherwise, you don't like a big corporation. Every store buys their own magazines. So there's one. But once we mentioned retailers, like the people that added for advertising the magazine, I might have to reach back into our warehouse over here behind me. Hang on a second.
That big warehouse space.
Okay.
You'll have to phone it in from there, Scott. We can't hear you. You got to phone it.
Hold on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
That's our traveling photo booth. Here we go. I do want to plug this. All of these advertisers have stayed with us. So the Pacific Northwest was happening. It's going to be this March. If you're up in that area, definitely want to go. Roy Sorensen's going to go shoot it for us. Okay, moving on. Spotlight Hobby. By the way, YouTube guide. So you're going to look for yourselves in there. We get a lot of support from ProTech. He helps us out.
That's a fellow Florida guy.
Yeah, and our contributors, we got Tim Boyd. We've got he's been a big one. Having his name in the first magazine, it really brought us some legitimacy before we even put out our first issue. People saw that on our preview cover and said, "Oh, Tim's on there, so that's got to be all right." We have Chris Bell. I've already shouted out Luca, who's helped us quite a bit. Let me see. I'm just going through here trying to look at all these people because we've got.
You're in Brazil, by the way.
Pardon me.
You're in Brazil, by the way.
Yeah.
Your magazine.
Mark Cruz saying that Mag just made it to Brazil. He sent a copy to a friend down there.
No way, really?
Yeah.
No way.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Let me see. We've had Curtis Ray. We've had Steve Perry as a regular contributor. Tom Valenta is now sending us contests. He also shot for model cars. I'm super excited to have him on board. We know Luca. We know STS Decals. We know our friend Chris Bell, Scale Speed Garage, Josh, Resins, Jack. We got, just Dave Armstrong. So let me tell you about Dave Armstrong. So Dave Armstrong is a guy I knew from the model, the Coffin Corner, the show rods. And I forget how I even got in contact with him. Oh, he posted a copy, a model built Flying Dutchman. You know that one? That's the old Charger that they put in the car? And it was a nice, clean box stock build. And he'd done a Scorpion as well. And I reached out. I go, hey, can I put that in the magazine? And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to do it. He goes, I have a whole bunch of kits. So turned out Dave Armstrong never sold a kit in his life. And he's been getting them since he was a kid. And he has duplicates of the most rare kits you can. And he sent me, he goes, here. And he goes, you just pick it and I'll build it. And
Wow.
so when you see a Dave Armstrong kit review, he's gone into his collection and pulled that out. Because I said, build that. And he goes, yeah, sure. And so that's why that bubble top Impala, the Futurista, the Flying Dutchman, the Mr. Unswitchable, those are $100 kit, 100 plus. And he builds them for us. And he talks about what it's like to build that kit. And
That's
it's
amazing.
not, and they're mint. It's not a glue bomb. It's mint from the tree. It's such a lucky break for us. And he's so fun, so good to work with. So who else do we got? We got Mark Jones. We've got Lewis Hicks. I'm trying to think. We've got so many good writers that write for us now. Rick Hanmore.
Oh, nice.
You know, I've been trying to get Doug White to write one, and he has one, but he's so busy with that YouTube channel. Yeah. But I'd love to. We've got a few more people that just reached out. You saw Marcus Cruz did a how-to for us. Ken Kitchen has got some stuff. I mean, it's just great that we have all these builders and they reach out and they go, hey man, I want to submit. How hard is it to make it into Barnes and Noble? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Wait, I do know.
Yeah. It's
because Model Cars Magazine explored that. Yeah. And I don't want to give away a lot of what their things are, but the Barnes and Noble isn't as simple as calling them up and saying, can I put it on your stand? There's a lot of stuff and there's quantities and things like that. So that is hard. It is hard to get in there. I would love to get in Hobby Lobby. I think like
cool.
Right there, with all those little parts and paints.
Pieces. Yeah. Heck yeah.
That would be awesome.
A quick question for you. We touched on it earlier. If somebody wanted to just, maybe write an article, can they just write it up and send it to you and maybe get in? How would something like that work? That's first part of a two-part question.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll see you at Acme, Fred. Because we are going. That's forget. And ask us where we're going to, because we keep forgetting.
That's awesome. We'll all be down there then.
Yeah, we'll all be down there. We're going to do the show from there.
To be at Acme?
Yep.
Awesome.
All three of us.
Yep. We're going.
And NNL as well?
I'm thinking about NNL East, but I'm not sure. For me, I'm in Central Florida and it's in New Jersey, so it's a pretty good hike for me, but thinking about it. Been wanting to go. It's on my bucket list for sure.
NNL North for me. So
nope.
Well, we just talked to them and they got our tables ready for us, and we've already got the hotel and everything. So we're super excited. So to answer your question, Mike. So all you got to do is say, I want to write an article, and you send me an email, scottcolmer@automodeler.net, and I say, what is it you want to write about? And if it sounds like something that has a pretty broad appeal, because I've had people that want to write about very, very specific things, like us making this one certain engine exactly right, and I'm not laughing because that's his passion.
Right.
It's probably really well done. It's just not a broad thing. Like maybe 5 or 6 people could see. I would try that. I want it to be something that everybody could try. Or if you've got a model that's just looking good, that we want. Like the next issue is going to feature Mark Jones and his Lola.
Nice.
And so I've already got the cover in my mind, what I want to try and make it look like. So I'm hoping that pulls off. So then once you do that and we go, oh yeah, I say, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Then I'll ask you to send me some photos. Because the next thing is you got to get good photos. And I've had like a guy he's still working on it, but he had a great idea for doing spray can flames and they look good. I'm like, oh, wow. But his photos, when you shoot a car, it has to be clear in the front and clear in the back. And if you don't have a macro lens, you're going to have to really work your phone to get it to work. So just it's got to have good photos. Then I'll say, okay, let's then write the story, and we'll go from there. And if the fortunate, because I'm a teacher, and I've got that English degree. So if you write a story that's got some pretty good content, but it needs a little work, I'll get on the phone with you, and we'll go through that story step by step to clean it up and make it so, because a lot of times they're really long and we got to cut them down. And because that's the way people do. They just write everything. That's what I say. Write everything, and then we'll take the stuff we need.
That's what I would need. I would need an editor.
Right. Well, that's what we do with our videos, right? We edit out the stuff.
Oh, really?
My OCD just goes off the chart, and then I'm writing every little detail.
God, my voice has been so deep.
Well, you answered part 2 of the question, which is why I saved it for the second half, because I felt like you would reach that anyway. For example, JaxCon was this past weekend. I have a nice camera, but unfortunately, I don't have a macro lens for it. I have the R50 Canon R50, which is a nice camera, but it doesn't have the macro lens on it. So even when I'm taking close-ups of my own stuff, it doesn't do as well as my Apple phone does. So if done correctly, and by correctly I mean you figure out how to get really good macro shots with your smartphone, is that something that somebody could use to take magazine quality pictures with? And I asked that question as a part of somebody that's going to a smaller show that maybe doesn't have all the accoutrement, if you will. That's my 25-cent word for the day, by the way. Accoutrement.
Wow.
I know, right? It was on a Taco Bell hot sauce package today.
Oh, okay.
The other one was, "Will you marry me?" I don't know where that came from, but
Cracker Jack box. That was Cracker Jack box.
Yeah,
that was a Cracker Jack. But point being, could somebody, if they did it right, be able to take pictures at, say, a JaxCon with their smartphone and at least be considered for considered well enough to be in the magazine?
Yes. So I'm going to share another little secret. One of the 4 is, you got to have good lighting. Don't do a shot. I will not print table shots.
No profile.
And only profile. You can throw profile in, especially if the car's got a good profile, but it's got to have an angle. Not saying this because she's shocked now, so she knows all the tricks. And in fact, if you go to our website and you go on to other and contributors, there's a whole guide on how to shoot a show. Okay. Now back to your cell phone. The answer is yes, but I want you to take those pictures and blow them up and make sure that it's not fuzzy on the back end. Because some phones, in fact, my brother bought a little macro lens kit for a couple $100, not even that. Yeah. The case snaps on his iPhone and he screws in a macro lens.
Yep.
There's lightning. He screws in a macro lens, and he can get like fingerprint close.
Oh, nice.
So that is a thing that you can easily adapt to phone. And now I'm going to tell you the secret. Another. Well, you just get all the scoops. Like true story. So in one of the magazines, one of the shows we printed was shot with a cell phone.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
I truly thought, I've got the photo booth, which I don't think you can see it behind me. Maybe you can. No, my chair's in the way. But I've got one of those. Maybe you can see it now.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. I've got one of those. Yeah, right there. But I've got one of the photo booths, and so it gets it out. There's no bench pictures or whatever. But and I kind of walked you into that question, so you would mention the other thing on there to be able, people can actually go to it and check that out. I thought that was really neat for you guys to put that up on your site. So if somebody was interested, they at least would have a foundation to work with, which is pretty cool.
That's I'm glad you let me do it, because that helps us get more contributors, and that goes to another thing about how to stay on deadline. So let's say you sent me an article. Oops, dog hair. Let's say you sent me an article. I would. He's about ready to get famous. I'm about to bring him up. So I might say, depending on how timely it is.
Oh, look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Up, dog.
So hang on, I'm trying to scoot back in. All right. So depending on how timely it is, like where it fits, I might not use it for 3 to 4 issues.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, and I'll send you the contributors agreement. And what that means is I'll put it in the bank, and that's how we stay on schedule. Is like if I have a hole, like if I had somebody who I asked for an article and they got sick or something, I can fill that hole.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I have a lot of contests in the bank. And some people
Makes
go,
sense.
I sent you that 4 months ago. I know. And that's kind of what happens. But that way we can always have content when we need content.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
That's a good plan.
That's just smart business. You can't hold up, you can't stop the train because somebody unfortunately got sick or whatever the case may be. You gotta have a backup plan.
Right.
I mean, we have a backup plan. We just go on when somebody doesn't make it. But me and Bruce hope to God Jason makes it every time from now on. we were a 3-wheeler with 2 wheels, and we were just running in circles. We were chasing.
Wasn't my plan to get pneumonia. So.
That's true.
We winged it. I'm telling you.
we were like a ball in high weeds, buddy. We were lost.
And Jason, what do you think? Crickets.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Crickets.
Exactly.
So what's the puppy's name?
That's how it works. Oh, and you have the right after 18 months to recall your article. To say, you know what, I want to send it to somebody else. And I also ask it, if you send us something, please try not to publish it out online. Like if you send us a full build-up of your awesome Pro Street Camaro, was it?
Me, I got the Firebird chassis underneath my '68 Dodge USAC build.
Oh, cool. Oh, okay. So your '68 Dodge. Well, you're probably going to get coverage anyway from the contest coverage. But let's say you sent me a build-up of that, and it was cool. All right. So I'm doing it, and I'm flipping around in Facebook or on Model Cars Forum or on Spotlight, and I see you just chronicled your whole build.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like, okay, so you want me to hold on to it, or do you want to take that down?
Right.
You don't want stuff that people have seen.
That was another question that somebody had asked too, was if you're a YouTube content creator, you can't post it on your YouTube channel before it goes to a magazine, right?
I would prefer not, because especially if you're lucky enough to get 10,000 subscribers, it would be kind of like we don't have anything fresh. I would ask you to let us publish it, then you can post it. And once the magazine has run its 2-month run, then have fun and do whatever you want to do. And that's at that point you piggyback off the magazine and take and mention the magazine as featured in or as shown in. You use it as a catalyst to help promote the build even more so. So exactly. Makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. So not that I'm going to end up in anybody's magazine. Believe it or not, I'm going to be the first one to tell you I have never had any of my models ever published in a magazine. Jason is an amazing builder, and he's had several of his kits published, but I have never.
The one I was not expecting for it to be in a magazine, and I was shocked when it came out in that contest cars one. So that was last year's USAC truck.
What do you describe the model or hold it up? Do you have it near you?
I don't have it. It's in my model shop. It's a blue 55 Ford that was for USAC last year. So
beautiful build, absolutely beautiful.
Blue 55 Ford
drag truck.
Is it? It's a what? A truck?
Yeah, it's the 55 Ford truck that was USAC build for last year.
Oh, I'm trying to see if I remember it.
And it was like a dark blue. It was drag. It was all slammed to the ground as a drag truck.
Did it have dark rims?
Nope, silver rims.
Oh, okay, then I'm thinking of a different one. I'd have to go look for it. I'm going to put you down.
Yeah, I can send you a picture because I got to definitely subscribe to you. So.
So what's the puppy's name?
Chandler.
Chandler.
Okay. Chandler.
The friend, the character from Friends.
From Friends, yeah.
Good thing.
It's cool, that.
Yeah, good thing
you don't pick up a blonde dog with a black shirt.
Yeah.
Or white.
I'm just like one action at a time. I don't think beyond. No vortex.
Well, what a great show! In the interest of being conscious of your all's time, I know you between your publishing and your editing and all the stuff you guys got going on. I know you have a full plate. We can't thank you guys enough for coming on to the show. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do in the hobby, being such a great influencer, such a great avenue for us to both enjoy and be a part of. Can't thank you guys enough for everything that you do in this hobby. It's awesome, awesome, awesome.
Well, thank you for having us. We
Thank
really enjoyed it.
you.
We really appreciate it. If you guys ever got anything like special announcements or something like that, you're more than welcome to hit us up, and we can schedule time for you to come on and make an announcement if that's what you'd like to do. We would really enjoy that as well. So
absolutely, anytime you guys want to come back on, talk about anything, we are at your disposal.
Yep.
Awesome. We so much appreciate
Thank
that.
you so much. This has been awesome.
Absolutely. Any last minute plugs before we sign off?
Well, we'll use our regular sign off from Luca. You keep building the models. We'll keep telling the stories.
There you
Awesome.
go.
I like that.
Bye-bye.
Jason, you want to go next, or Bruce? Who wants to go next?
I'll go. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the people that commented tonight. The chat has been really going crazy. And then thanks to all the people that have commented and messaged me in the last week or so, praying that I was getting better. I'm better, and we're back. So we'll see you all in the next episode. Bruce?
And I'm Bruce from Bruce's Collector World. And I want to say the same thing. If it wasn't for the chat flying by and all of our awesome guests and everybody that shows up, this would not be the show that it is. And we love and appreciate each and every one of you. And once again, we want to thank Scott and his lovely wife to come on the show. We appreciate it very much. Mike?
Absolutely, guys. Again, want to big shout out to Matt for connecting the dots between myself and the Colmers.
Thanks, Matt.
The show and the Colmers. Thanks again for that, Mr. Matt. Thank you, Scott and Annie, for coming on. We appreciate you guys' time. Y'all be sure and check out the Scale Model Car podcast, and be sure and check out the Model Insanity podcast. Two great supporters of our show. We support them. And as always, be kind to others and keep on modeling. And before you go, there's your big old thumbs up.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.